For you to do it.
Chicago is in India.
I don't know about Chicago, but I know about Michigan Lake. Michigan.
Hi there. That was a great intro. Hi, Cleo again. And you should have your copy of Chicago. I was going to do, because you guys don't know, I, for some reason, decided to write a poem for every element in the periodic table, and it keeps getting more colorful as I'm filling it in more with stuff. And I wanted to read new ones for any time I do a feature like this. So I've got a bunch of poems, and they are all with music from the Howman of South Africa, from Francois Le Roux. Most of them that I have here are from his 2011 hotel music. I hope you like them. I hope they work. They all have very different themes. I'll tell you something about them as well as the titles. And there's a cat here. Hello. Hi, cutie.
That's popcorn.
Hi. Oh my gosh, you love popcorn. You have it? Hi. Anyway, alright, it's not about the cat. Stop it, Jude. So this first one that I'm going to do starts with, and I should say, starts with a track that is called Quiet Stream. And it is a second, the first two poems I do are actually bonus poems from the periodic table, because if I do something on hydrogen, I might do another one about hydrogen. Oh, it's a bonus one, I've got another one. I've done Einsteinium before, number 99, so this is a supplemental one, and this is called Beauty in the Eyes of Einstein. Einstein dismissed some of his theories, even some we may know all too well. Einstein didn't like some of his theories because he thought they weren't beautiful. And I wonder, what is beauty? Is it the geomagnetic aberrations of the aurora borealis dancing along the horizon in the Arctic Circle? Is it the eternally changing wisps of volcanic trails from Saturn Moon Titan's atmosphere? Or is it converting matter into pure energy with just the right formula? We ask, what is beauty? They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it makes me wonder. Einstein understood that everything was relative. Because once he fathomed the relationship between matter and energy, once he understood the interconnectivity between matter and energy, he understood that his knowledge in the hands of evil men could mean that his fatherland, the land he escaped from, that Hitler and the Third Reich could be working on an atomic bomb, converting so little matter into so much devastating energy. Einstein understood the gravity of writing a letter to appeal to Roosevelt to create this bomb to protect us from Germany. Now, imagine naming an element discovered from the explosion of the first hydrogen bomb after Albert Einstein. Because really, in a way, it's ironically beautiful. So we ask, what is beauty? Because chemists will make it clear that Einsteinium has no known uses. But think about it. Is there any logical reason to grow a certain flower or to purchase it at inflated prices to give to someone you're smitten with at an early date? Is there any logical reason to accept the De Beers Company global stranglehold over the stopping of the release of an otherwise common crystal so that a loved one can cherish a clear stone on their left finger to show to the world that they're otherwise taken? Is there any logical reason to claim a song for a slow dance on your wedding day? Logically? Of course not. But we do it anyway. We keep dried rose petals from that infatuating relationship. Women constantly ooh and ah over engagement ring sizes, and married people intrinsically feel they have to dance to hear whenever they hear their wedding song. How illogical, but how beautiful. So we ask, what is beauty? And all scientists seem to use Einsteinium for now is for basic basic scientific research. But that seems oddly fitting, because that is what Einstein did best. To think, to research. And that is beautiful. Thank you. I decided I was going to let these pieces run long so that they can just keep going on and I can talk about the next piece so that you can hear more and more of his music that you're not going to get to hear later tonight. The other thing I was going to tell you about the poems that I've chosen to read, I have put them in the most odd order possible so that nothing seems to be making sense. And that will make sense when I talk about this next piece, which is another bonus poem, because I've written for Phosphorus before, number 15, but this one I want to make sure that I got it. This is a piece, because Francois will want to know, is on a gallop, is what is going to be in the background, but this poem is from the perspective of a Vietnam vet, and this one is called White Phosphorus. Seeing bombs from Vietnam and the white smoke rising, with each bomb exploding, I knew that smoke. It was Willie Pete, white phosphorus. You couldn't put it out once it started burning. That stuff would destroy the forests, foreign to us U.S. troops. I know you can't understand, but I wanted you to know that I haven't felt close to anyone or anything in years. It sounds sick, but seeing that footage, seeing that white smoke from that file footage, it brought it all back to me. It brought all the emotion flooding back to me like it was yesterday. Everything that seems so volatile about that war, in a way, has become a part of me, right down to my DNA. You look at your TV screen and think it makes no sense, but it's a part of me. I know I'm old now. I know it's only a small part of me, but I know I need it. I can't explain why, but I do. When you see the destruction from Willie Pete, we knew what it was, white phosphorus, but we all called it that. It was just easier to say it then. But when you see the destruction of that white phosphorus, you think of it on some existential level, like, oh, violence is bad. But when I see those bombs go off, and when I think of what it was like to live in that war, that Willie Pete, that white phosphorus, to us, that was our key to getting through that hell. You can't understand, but that was the closest we had to getting out alive. This next piece, changing themes once again. Come on in, have a seat. She's like, I'm eating. Sorry I didn't bring food up for everyone. This next piece is number 22 in the periodic table. And I was like, everybody knows something about titanium, right? On some level, or you see it in places or what. And I'm almost like, I have no clue what to do with it. And I finally came up with this one. You're going to hear a very short hymn in the background from Francois Le Roux. This next piece is number 22 in the periodic table, and it is Titanium. What I think I like the most about you is whenever I see you around me, you consume me like a wave of heat on a summer afternoon. Seeing your metal along my flesh teases me until sweat dances down my hairline and tickles my neck. What I think I like the most about you is the way you always leave me wanting more. The longer I'm out in the sun, the more red my nose and cheeks get, and the more I want to slather you all over me to protect me. What I think I like the most about you is how you say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, because you're like the fireworks I only see on special occasions, and with your absence, I want you more. So, you couldn't be more right. What I think I like the most about you are the things that make me think I have to fight for you, are the things that make you cost just too much. It's true, the market determines your worth to the world, even if you're always priceless to me. What I think I like the most about you is the fact that you can lead the way to help me fly high into the skies so I could see any corner of the earth or even see the universe beyond our narrow global vision. You can do that for me. What I think I like the most about you is the fact that you seem so common in the world, yet you manage to hide yourself in just the right way. But still, you're everywhere, from dental implants to cell phones to engagement rings to jet engines or spaceships. What I think I like the most about you is the wondering about you, is the yearning for you. That's what I like. This high-charged guessing game. You make me work so hard just to find you. You leave me to think about the possibilities. And that's what I like. I think one person got my sunscreen. I'm like, oh, there's titanium in sunscreen. You slather on your face. Anyway, but there's so many uses for titanium. And they'll use it in space. Yeah, and John is always out, and he's like, I've got a white face because I want it, because he's like, I burn easily. It's all over it. So anyway,
come from the word so tight.
As you can tell from my tan lines, I apparently don't pay attention to that. I just go, yeah, we'll see what happens. Lovely. This next one in the periodic table is actually number 37, and I think this is ironic because the music that I picked for this is titled Burnt Forest, which is oddly appropriate for this next piece. This is Rubidium, number 37.
That's mine. First two tracks I didn't recognize. Anyway, sorry, I wanted to ask.
You tell me you want me to be the hand that pulls me from that burning building. But you caused that fire. They try to put it out with water, but you turn it into hydrogen gas. You give everything more heat, and the fire only expands. So every time I try to be rescued, you turn your back and claim you have more work to do. So I will rescue myself this time again, and I will wonder if I should even stop trying and allow myself to perish in the flames. Now all I have to do is sit and wait for another disaster to consume me. I'll wait for you to do your work. Sitting and waiting is exactly what I'll do. You fascinate me with your fireworks. You think, oh, what a pretty purple color. She'll like that. But I never was fond of that color, and I hate the damage that you can cause. And when things get hot, it seems that you melt just above my own body temperature. How can I survive with you like this? My love for you is the deepest red. But why do you tell me one thing and then do another? You really charge me when we're together, but why do you run away when I need you the most? I'm stepping over the wooden beams now, and the flames are all around me. Here, look at the blood dripping from my arms. Here, smell my flesh burning. This is what you do. You've been so volatile lately that you seem to react to everything I ever do, even if it's in an effort to save us. So, let me burn. Can't it be easier for me to just perish? I try, and every time at the last minute, my figure steps over the charred remains and saves me. If only you wouldn't create that burning. If only you would exist for more than destruction, even if it was only for purple fireworks, or conducting electricity, or cooling lasers, giving power to batteries, or outer space energy. But I'm afraid to be with you anymore, because you'll even spontaneously ignite in the air. I know our past. I know I can absorb you into me, but I only know now that you serve no purpose for me. So, after all this time, I only wonder if I could ever feel safe with you. Even just once. And I think that I had titles of tracks incorrect, but I thought I had them correct and I wrote them down. I hope so. Well, and I can even tell you because I have the, yeah, it was Burnt Forest. Well, I can't picture. Well, I'm doing really good. Hi.
I'm sorry. They gave us the wrong pizza.
And it's a meat-filled party.
Yeah, and I had a call on it. It's wrong pizza.
Oh, I'm sorry. And now I feel bad. But I don't know why, because none of us are, I don't know, whatever. Sorry. I'm going to go to the next piece here. This one, maybe I should ask him, because I'll confirm. Yes, this one is A-Z-Z-U-U. And I want to say it's Azu. Or something to that effect, because half of it is with the, and that cat is just all over on the tail. It's something with the sound effects that you're doing later in the piece, which makes me think that, and I have no idea if there's a proper way to say it or not. Does it matter? What is it?
The title that I got for this is
A zoo? AZ? No.
It's one of those.
So I cannot say it. So it is AZZUU, and you'll just have to guess what it is.
Zoo.
Well, he will be the
That's
master to
American
figure that one
zoo.
out. But, anyhow,
Peter, huh? Zoo?
we're later.
Okay. You know
This
the
one
kid.
is, we're loving. This is number 31 in the periodic table, and this is gallium. Isn't that moment of expectation almost the best part? How it melts in your mouth and not in your hands. Or is it the most heart-wrenching part? When you think everything is over, you see that at 30 degrees C, everything melts away. And you think you shouldn't be doing this, that this can't be happening. But on a hot day, everything is held in peril. Because, as I said, everything can melt away. Yeah, I know how they say it melts in your mouth and not in your hands. But after a lick, it doesn't have much of a taste. It's a bit astringent and has a metallic taste that lasts last for a few hours. But as I said, it melts in your mouth and not in your hands, and no one even knows what it tastes like when it's molten. But still, with its low melting point and its high boiling point and no toxic vapor, it contracts as it melts, much like water. So it actually floats on its own liquid. You want to see it floating away on itself like that. You want to see what you think are the laws of nature being broken. So you wait for that moment of expectation. You wait for that moment of change and wonder if that's almost the best part. I've got little post-it notes for what these poems are. And the next poem, and I want to keep this going, it's awesome to hear this music. This next one is, if my post-it notes are correct, is jumping all up and down. Jumping all up and down. And it's actually number 62 in the periodic table, and it is samarium. I wonder if there's something chemical that brings us together, something that brings us to our knees, something that sucks us in. Your stare from a distance haunts me. I know your look lasts longer than the universe itself, so if we join, would we stay together forever? I'm wondering if you're sensing what I'm sensing. Is it just me? Am I making this all up in my head? Or when I glance up and catch your eyes, do you see how you've taken a hold of me? I look at you and think that you're supposed to be the one that's good for everyone else. You're supposed to go out of your way to help everyone else. And the one thing I do know is that you don't break down like everyone else seems to with me. So maybe this attraction to you might not cause you to leave me. Maybe you'll absorb me, neutron by neutron. But really, I'm wondering if it could work out this time, if we'd have one of those relationships that no one ever doubts, especially us, because we know we'll always be in love. I've been so drawn to you. You have that effect on me. I can't help it. This magnetism is undeniable. The heat you generate can actually ignite in the air with me. Maybe that's why I've been wondering why I felt the need to take your cigarette and inhale. Exhale, while that filter was still warm from your lips, there just seconds before. I've seen you work well with others, my loved ones with cancer. You could even help them, which makes me a little jealous because I've been so drawn to you, I want you for myself. Because really, when I catch your eyes from across the room, when I see your eyes dart away, when I feel this chemical reaction, well, what I'm wondering is, do you feel it too? And I see people shake. Is everything taken care of with the pizza? I wasn't going to
This is the story. We got to eat the pizzas that they sent us.
So you got meat pizzas.
And they're going to send us some cheese pizzas too. So cheese pizza's on its way. And we
It's
have,
pizza
hi,
time
Audrey.
Hey, Kathleen.
Look at you.
Hi, Audrey.
There you are. Audrey is also a wizard. She works as a DJ at WCRD.
WCRD Chicago.
Yes, WCRD Chicago.
And what are the numbers for people that were asking?
I was in Logan Square and I saw somebody writing some
FM.
graffiti about loving WCRD, and I was like, that's awesome! That's awesome! Just the graffiti up for WCRD. What is that?
Audrey, I have something for you.
Well, I was gonna go and do one or two more before I get to a second part of it, but this one, you want to come through? Where are you going? All right, she doesn't know.
Kathleen,
She's
take
doing-
away.
You want to hold
more
it?
poetry.
Do you want to hold
On
it?
here.
Oh, but while she remembers.
Special delivery.
This one, if I've got the track right, was it right? Did I have the right track? It fell off the thing, so I hope I had the right track for that last one. But this next one would be insectal relations, I believe, if it would scan forward. No, it's the wrong one. It's not coming up properly. Here we go. That's European. So, either way, I hope you like it. This is number 63 in the periodic table. European. Too much light makes the baby go blind. And too much light makes the moth rush into the flame and die in a glorious blaze of glory. A scientist placed parts of you in a tube, removed all the air he could, and sent an electric current right through you. It glowed, and he called it a cathode ray. I have seen the light. I have seen your red hue. You say you make everything bright, but what is my choice? Burn in that red flame if I get too much of you, if I burst quickly? I know they even dope plastics with you for lasers. So what? So you be ready for a quick kill? So what? Do I burn in that red flame, or do I just keep giving myself only trace amounts of you, getting your red intensity bit by bit, thinking I'm not getting myself too much, I'm just giving myself enough, but still you will absorb me slowly until you pull me in? Because either way, you'll try to absorb me in, right down to my neutrons. I mean, they've even been doping what I use all the time with you for all of my life now. And I didn't even know it. Yeah, they say that too much light makes the baby go blind. But what does it do when it's been with you all of your life? Will it kill you then? They keep talking about too much light, but I wonder if it's a question of the right kind of light, because you haven't taken me out yet. I seem to be doing pretty well with you, and they might be talking about the danger, but if you know what you're doing, maybe enough of you is just what I need. I'll take my chances with you, because if you've been doped into what I use, maybe the addition of you is exactly what I need. It's interesting to come up with poetic that are known for getting light and for giving red intensity for TVs over the years. But anyway, this one is a short one, and this is the... Would you like to come over here and sit down and see over here, my poor thing? Yeah, you can see. Hi, there I am. You've got a great seat over there too. This was the last one for the first set. The second one was my questions of what you guys would like to hear. But these are the last ones of the new ones I've got. This is number 64 in the periodic table, and I've got my stroking flute in the background. Thank you. By the way, this music is awesome.
It is. It's gorgeous.
And I'm going to just do that once.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And I know you're just hearing it in the background, but it's still awesome. But this is number 64 in the periodic table. It's a short piece, and this is gadolinium. This attraction to you, what I learn, what you do, are you a force of nature? Is it your magnetism, and my need is only then intensified as I draw closer to you? That's the only way I can explain this, you know. I know this momentum in your magnetism chills me to the core, but the world doesn't know that your magnetic refrigeration is the energy we need. You must have a power no one else has harnessed to do this to me. The force you have on me makes my blood rush. And with that blood-brain barrier, I even look at MRI scans, and you're just the contrast agent to enhance all my vessels. In older times, the electric force between us would even curl me in an arc to you. I know, I must abide by the laws of physics and motion when it comes to you. Because, as I said, with your dynamic equilibrium, you must be a force of nature. In theory to this. I'm going to kill this right there. And that was timed well. The second part I was going to say is that I have recently written 3 bonus poems, and I was going to explain them to you, and if anybody wanted to hear any of them, I would read them. This could be really quick, and nobody wants to hear them. I'm going to tell you about them. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, it might be very true. This one is something I wrote on 9/11, because I actually never wrote anything about 9/11 and the day that was happening, and this was Smelling Sulfur on 9/11. I also have, because I usually always do an astronomy reference, and I have to do that about, oxygen in this case, and about how oxygen actually came into this atmosphere, and it was okay, it's all about the oxygen. And I also have a long, prosy almost piece that talks about the Schutzstaffel and the Waffen-SS and World War II German soldiers in Zyklon B in hydrogen cyanide. If anybody wants to hear any one of those 3, I would do them. Is there a call? Nobody's like, Nate.
9/11 sulfur.
The smelling sulfur. I've got 2 requests for the smelling sulfur. The selling sulfur. No, I didn't say that. Let me. The selling sulfur. Sulfur is, might as well tell you, number 16 in the periodic table. And I read this at open mic on 9/11. I wrote it that day and said I'm just going to read it here at the open mic that I'm hosting, which had Dallas Malice as the feature, which was very cool. So I have to actually find. I think I have music. I've never done it with this music before, which will be fun, but I'm going to try it.
9/11.
This is yes. I wrote it on 9/11. I said I have to do that.
On that day?
Yep.
On the day.
On the day, on the anniversary, blah blah blah. And
On the anniversary.
On the anniversary.
Anniversary.
Yes.
On the actual.
And it
Yes.
was also the 40th anniversary of 9/11, 1973.
And what happened on 9/11/73?
The coup in Chile.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
I read a poem about it.
Yep.
Well, I'm senile. If you did that in my open mic, I'm senile and can't remember the date. But did you?
did.
Were you there on 9/11 and read that? And you're like, yeah,
You
that.
did, yes. Yeah.
Very, very, well, I'm sorry that I'm trumping that and talking about the accident that happened in New York on this one, but
They're both important days
in different, exactly.
in
All right.
American history.
Very true. All right. I'll do this one. This one is, and I'm sorry, they keep trying to get this right because I feel like it's scratching, but I don't know how to set it to the right level. I hope it's okay. This is smelling, I have no idea. Get that.
Look, it's a pizza man.
I'll wait till she gets
Oh, thanks, honey.
the music, and I might as well see what do I have for the music for it so that Francois knows. And it starts playing it. Come on. This is not from the hotel music. This is Alex. And I just have it listed as from Web, but it's probably on an album of yours, and I don't know that. But it's called Alex, so this is Alex. You're like, what? What is this? But I don't know this. What are you talking about? Let me skip to the beginning of the track. This is Smelling Sulfur on 911. I'm a journalist. I can remember the sounds of the newsroom as I finish my articles at one of the computers. I can still hear the sounds of the bustling, of the rushing toward that deadline. The shuffling of papers was a constant presence when you worked. Hearing that low hum, that din of action and activity is almost comforting to types like us. It was the bass beat to the symphony of our lives. So, when you hear the words 911, you think of the number to dial when you hear of more gun violence on these Chicago streets. The smell of sulfur and the gunpowder, another sense that accentuates the center of the world around us. But on a beautifully sunny day, like today, you come into the newsroom in the early morning, and that sound of action is yet to truly penetrate the ears of these reporters when with a styrofoam coffee cup in one hand, crumpled pages of edited copy in the other. But on this sunny morning, the din was different, much more cacophonous, much more rushed, but still so hushed. I made my way to one of the TV sets along the main wall. All were on different channels, showing different bits of news, though all suddenly seemed the same. It looked like the newsroom was watching a movie as smoke poured from one of the Twin Towers. I tried to make out the voices from one of the TV sets when I witnessed a plane right before my eyes fly into the other tower. I stood there for a moment, transfixed like some horror movie addict. Before I thought of our contacts scattered along the East Coast, I pulled out my cell phone and speed dialed Mark in New York. He had a meeting scheduled in the Twin Towers that morning, but the phones were jammed, so I dialed up Don, who was in town there this week, but all was lost to computer-simulated voices, forcing me to leave messages and scramble from afar. As pathetic as we were, we stared at TVs as most forms of communication were cut off for us. Was this an attack on New York? We struggled to discover, until less than 40 minutes later we saw a 2-second-long film replayed repeatedly from a DC security camera that caught a collision course, crashing of a plane through the outer rings of the Pentagon. Well, now the story has changed. Tried to get through to Dan in D.C. He was supposed to be in the Pentagon today, but the phones were still cutting me off, so we scrambled for any data, looking for any Chicago connection. The Sears Tower, the John Hancock Building, these are national icons. They might be under attack. But before we could gain our bearings, only 25 minutes passed before a plane crashed into the ground near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Shanksville, I thought. I know somebody there. I searched. I found Anna's number, but who was I kidding? Those lines were cut off, too. It's a strange feeling, being a reporter and not being able to contact a single person. Being detached from any lead, coupled with this sinking feeling, wondering if any of the people you know are physically hurt, or even alive. As a journalist, you really feel hopeless, like your hands are tied behind your back. Give me the news. We give the news. We're not supposed to feel so stranded. An hour after the Pentagon was attacked, the Sears Tower was evacuated. This wasn't my beat. I had no contacts, no one to help me through this disaster, so I waited there in case others needed any assistance. I sat back for a moment, left there to wait, thinking about Mark and Don in New York, Dan in D.C., and even poor Anna. I'm sure she's not hurt, but they're now cut off to me. As I said, all I could do was wait. Clear your head of the people. I could hear myself say to myself, you are a reporter, just break down the details of what you see instead of thinking of this as another one of your human interest articles. The jet fuel, the drywall, all that paper in those offices, the people trapped. They're all hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. But wait a minute. In Chicago, I think of the sulfur smell when it comes to gunfire. But jet fuel is sulfur-laden, and that burning drywall emits sulfur gas. Sulfur is even the third most common mineral in the human body. I mean, I'm a newspaper reporter. I even know that sulfur-based compounds are used in pulp and in paper industries. Yeah, I'm a newspaper reporter. Just take a breath and turn your head to the stats. To clear my head of the humanity, the thought of so much sulfur being so much a part of so many details in our lives, it made me think of the destruction the sulfur was so much a part of today. I know I stayed here to give a helping hand. But with all that sulfur on my mind, suddenly I could only smell the burning, and I couldn't stop coughing while I tried to catch my breath. I will guess that there weren't, unless there are requests for, okay, it's all about the oxygen or hydrogen cyanide. Are there? Otherwise I go to the last part where it is open request time for periodic table poems. And that's in the request hour, so now I've got to find. Now I have those notebooks. Where are those notebooks? Have they been moved? I believe they were. No, I have no idea where they are. I had two huge notebooks, and they're actually huge.
Serving binders.
Thank you. Huge binders, two of them. Yes, got them, bring them on over. And aluminum.
Indium.
But
I know that you wanted to hear.
When you were writing sulfur, did you think of the devil? You know how the devil gives off that sulfur smell?
Oh, jeez, Louise. Does anyone have any incorrect pizza?
Pizza?
Meat pizza? What kind of meats are on
We
it?
have pepperoni and mushroom.
Kathleen, did you want?
I want mushrooms.
Which aluminum one did you want, my darling? Aluminium. Yeah, I know that one.
I always got
I'm starting from the beginning for that one. You guys can get your food. DNA and carbon. Phosphorus.
Here,
Aluminum is 10, I think.
myself.
Haha.
Thank you.
They're all getting their food right now. You could breathe it. Your pepperoni and...
This is just plain cheese.
Oh, man.
Anybody want
Keep
just
it closed so that I can have some when I'm done.
Okay. You want to have some cheese? Where did you get this from? It came from the closest place to here.
I was hoping
The closest place.
One of the boxes has the name printed on it.
I'll bring it in the
Cafe Sereno or something.
Cafe Sereno.
Cheese merchants
It's
of
really
America.
good.
Science, do you have a science background?
No, I do not. And
I'm gonna do some more water.
connection. Well, you know, after a while, it's like this is a way I'll do it, is to relay it as a personal relationship. Seems to be a good way to pull it off. That is not what I do. I originally started school as a...
Capture the
John, would you
I
like a
tried to-
piece of the cheese or would you rather a different one?
cheese is fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Save some cheese for me because I don't get to eat anything.
Save some.
Eat your pizza. Now eat your
Have you
pizza.
done all of the elements?
No, I've got, there are
How many elements are there?
118 and I probably have about 20 to go. And he's laughing. He's looking at you. Okay, laughing. So
That's okay. We'll try to get you new elements.
they're going to work on it. I know it. They're looking for it. So I was going to actually just pull up. I don't know what track this is from Francois, but something amongst hills, I believe. Amongst hills from your, but it's stretched out so that it would be a long piece. So it's just that the theme of this going through, because that's what I did for the Beach Poets. So I'm just going to run that in the background so you can hear more Francois stuff. And they're like, we're just going to sit inside and eat pizza. So I know the first one. Oh, but did Kathleen want to hear the aluminum? She's in her way, so I'm going to go to Astatine. Because I know you guys want to hear that one, so I'm just going to run this music. And this first one is a bonus poem from number 85, Acetine. This is Acetine in a Fantastic Car Crash.
Oh, this is my request.
That's your request. Figured I might as well pull that up. And that's gonna be
I love the way you combined your poems.
It's combining poems.
Combine poems.
Acetine in a Fantastic Car Crash. And our life is one big road trip now. And we make our way, and we set the cruise control and make our way down the expressway. And most of the time we're just moving in a straight line and the scenery blurs. There's nothing to see. But I know what's inside of you, and I know what you're made of. There's no such thing as a calm with you. You are a fantastic car crash. You stop traffic in both directions. In your twisted way, you come from the decay of others. And what do you leave in your wake? More radioactive destruction as all around you slows down to stare. And all the gapers gawk, and the decay grows. Everything shatters with you, you know. It's a spectacular explosion until your instability corrodes you down to just the basics in the world. And yeah, what was left of you after you were gone is so much more stable than what you were, but still, I duck and cover as metal flies through the air. Every time you leave the scene of the accident, I am left picking up the shards of glass from the windows. You know, the glass breaks into such tiny little pieces. They look like ice. It takes so long to pick up the pieces, and even though I'm careful, I'm still picking up the pieces after dealing with only fractional amounts of you. I've only been able to infer what you're like by knowing your brethren, while I'm stuck here picking up the pieces, and I'm still on my knees. The glass cuts into my hands. Maybe it was only after so much of your destruction that you left behind, and you left all that blood dripping down to the street. Think of this as your contribution, this radioactive short-term flash of decay. Think of this as your contribution to this fantastic car crash. That is you. That is me. That is us. I've tried to learn. I've tried to study these microscopic parts of you to make any sense of you. But whether or not you ever leave us enough, despite your destruction, despite this decay of yours, I have to keep telling myself that when it comes to you, this is what you do. This happens all the time. So, I pull the glass from my hands and wave my hand to the line of traffic. Go ahead. Keep driving. This happens all the time. There's nothing to see here. Everything shatters with you. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And people are like, I want more pizza. But is there a Kathleen that wanted to hear the aluminium? Kathleen Shannemeyer Bartles. Aluminium. I'm saving this for you. You gotta come here, my love. I'm sorry I'm interrupting. I'm reading because you asked for this one. This is a bonus poem from number 13 in the periodic table. This is aluminum. So, back in the day, this was how researchers conducted science when working with things they didn't know. So when a Denmark man in 1825 discovered element 13 and wanted to know everything about it, he tasted the element. Thinking it was bitter and it made his mouth tighten up like he was eating alum, he posed the name for element 13 as aluminium. But I think the scientists that formed the element naming community didn't like that name, so they called the element aluminium. But the element's name here in America is aluminum. Aluminium is a British thing, so why is it known in the States as aluminum? Well, I heard a man explain to me that he heard, now I don't know if this is true, but hear me out. He heard that in the States, when a company, wait, I think it might have been the Aluminum Company of America, Alcoa, but I'm not sure. When it was starting, it filed its name with the federal government, but when meaning to write the Aluminium Company of America, they forgot the letter I, so their name became the Aluminum Company of America. And, well, it stuck, not only for the company, but also for the science community in America. And because someone forgot to write the letter I for registering a company name, all American-speaking countries might now say aluminum instead of aluminium. So from tasting like alum to misspelling a word, aluminium, or rather aluminum, really now has quite a list of aliases.